What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Lights Out, baby, episode number 65. Your huge Smash Factor preview. That is going to be one of the main topics we're going to be talking about because the newest S tier event, Smash Factor, A tier, S tier, whatever, hype tier, because it's going to be hype as hell, is coming at you this weekend. So can't wait to talk about that. Originally, we did have a guest scheduled. We had Mr. R. Apparently, he's a little too sleepy. Mr. Z, because his ass is asleep. All right, fine, no worries. Light making the comeback on today's episode, except no one's heard from him in 4 days. So, wow, that's a little tough as well. So, a lot of things happening right now, and I wish we could give you some actual answers, but here we are, Cosmos. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea where Light is, and to be honest, like he's been trying to find a place and everything, and I think he found a place already, but I still have no idea where he is. But you know what, EE? What can I get though?
You know what you can get? You can get the thing I had when I was on the East Coast these last 4 days because the humidity is horrendous, okay? But you know what? I had the perfect solution. I had Doer, baby. I had Doer. And you know what? Well, what does Doer do, E? I'm glad you asked, chat. You might have heard us talking about our Doer jeans and shorts as of late. Let me tell you something. They're still making the best stretch performance denim and lifestyle apparel that's built for doing a lot, okay? They combine comfort with style and quality that lasts all throughout the day. Plus, they're made with substantial materials like wood chips, plants, recycled plastic bottles that are designed to last a distance. Do you understand with that? You'll find yourself a granola girl. She'll be peeling those do-er jeans right off you so you can do her, if you know what I'm talking about. Now, we're telling you right here, do-er will be your favorite pair of pants, so you should order yours today. Well, how do you do that, you might ask? Go ahead and visit do-er's flagship stores located in both LA or Denver, or if you're not in the vicinity, hit that online shop. ShopDoer.com/lightsout. Right now, our listeners are getting 20% off of their first order when you use the exclusive URL ShopDoer.com/lightsout, which you can find in the description of this video, or if you're watching it live, !DUER to get that as well. It's an amazing deal from some amazing people, and we want you to be a part of it. Thank you, Doer.
Damn. That was solid. Honestly, that was a 10 out of 10. That was a very good one. I'm not even going to cap.
Listen, I'm just trying to keep it real, okay? Trying to keep it real, deal, Holyfield. And I'm going to keep it real by letting you know we're going to discuss this off stream, chat. We're going to be making some changes to this podcast because I'm getting a bit frustrated. But you know what? I wasn't frustrated.
We both are, honestly.
I wasn't frustrated this past weekend because I actually got to tune into an event that I thought was actually pretty damn sick. Talking about Patchwork. Perhaps you saw it, Cosmos. It was a really, really cool event. And I want to give a shout out to Mutace for winning the event. Zamba getting second place. Kola getting third. So Kola riding that CEO high at first. Gets third at Patchwork. Very well done. Wrath in fourth. Fifth place was Monty and Shattuck. And then Jazzo and Peep Nut making up seventh place. Just short of top 8, Mystery Goblin, Apollo Kage, the usual suspects. So
so there's actually a good amount of things that I want to talk about from this tournament because I think this actually has a lot. There's honestly a lot to unpack from this tournament. The main thing that I want to mention first is obviously it's been a while since. First of all, we don't know where Light is. We don't know what's going on with him. I know that he found a place, but he'll be here eventually. We're going to talk about it eventually. We'll figure out what's going on. But not only is he not on the podcast, he hasn't been at tournaments recently. And obviously, like back then, whenever he was going to tournaments, at least at the beginning of the year, he was like considered what I would call, I guess, the best player on Moist. I don't know if people really care about that, but I think now Kola has recently been making a very good contestment for the top spot on Moist because not only has he been consistent recently, he won CEO, he got third here. I think he beat Zamba here, right? Yeah, he beat Zamba at some point, right? Or he
lost to Zamba in losers.
Oh, he lost them. Okay, well, yeah. he got third here. He beat Shattuck.
Shattuck, yeah. Game 5. After that fire alarm thing, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. And then he got top 8 at Gommel, I'm pretty sure, where he actually beat Light. So, and the tournament that we all busted out best bustered out on at was Momocon. He was the only one that still placed top 4, which was actually a seed. He was seeded 4th. So him actually being very consistent, getting top 4 like pretty much all the most recent tournaments, and like I think he got 5th at Gommel. So getting top 5 at like all the most recent tournaments, he is definitely like probably in contention for top 5 in America right now, or in the States, and probably probably has the edge over Light in the best spot, best player in Moist. So I'm not really sure if that's something that really matters, and I'm pretty sure that I know that they banter about it a lot. And I know that they both really do care about being the best player on Moist, because Kola was the first player on Moist, like the, I guess, founder of Moist, he would call himself. But I know Light really is a very prideful player and wants to be the best player on his team. So having 3 other players on his team, 4 in total, I know it's kind of a pride thing for all of them to be the best player. But I think he's gonna have to step it up if Kola stays this consistent.
I would absolutely agree with that. I think that was a amazing soliloquy you just had right there, and it really kind of broke down some good points. It's so interesting. Like Light's most activity seemed to have been when like Kola was not around, and now Cola's around a lot and Light's not as active. So, I feel like if both of those guys are competing like at a high level consistently, like that's just going to propel Moist, because Moist was, in my opinion, like the ultimate team, just mainly because of Light and Kola. But you've really seen people in the Stride ranks really start to ascend, and like they even tweeted out like, oh, another Stride Grand Finals. Oh, surprise, by the way, we're sponsoring Zamba. So Zamba, we can finally reveal it. Yes, Stride has sponsored Zamba. Now he is their newest pickup. So that was a Stride Grand Final. We saw a Stride Grand Final back at Cirque 3 with Shattuck and Mutates. Like, they've really got some really talented players on that roster competing and really making some big waves. So I got to give them a lot of credit for those pickups for sure. And just good investments in general. So, and for Zamba, if you guys watch Patchwork, you saw he lost to Wrath in winners after making a reverse 3-0, being up like 100% game 5. Wrath just crashes out and just beats him, does this crazy pop off. It was nuts. It was like kudos to Wrath for being that clutch in that moment, right? He does it. Zamba, though, makes a good losers run. Like, he went through a lot of people. The thing that a lot of people were thinking was like, oh, he had to fight Apollo Kage to get 9th, and we know his history with fighting Snake is not necessarily the best. But he beat Apollo Kage. He got the job done, and from there just went on a crazy losers run, taking out Kola, got his get back against Wrath, was game 5 last hit in set 1 of Grand Finals with Mutace. Mutace goes for like this crazy up air, I think, that challenged his nair and got the KO to win it. But it was a really solid tournament. Shattuck getting 5th place, little surprising there. I expect top 3. When I think Shattuck these days, I don't think anything less than top 3. I'm sure he's of the same mindset, most likely top 1, because he knows how good he is. But it was a really good tournament to watch. I think this Patchwork tournament, just since the last one and then into this one, is really kind of building itself up into something that can be really, really respected. And
real quick though,
go ahead.
Real quick though, before we like get off Patchwork, the other thing I wanted to talk about is I was streaming the other day with what's his name, Ramen and Leo, and someone in my chat was like, yo, congrats to Mutace for winning his first major. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. Are we really going to consider Patchwork a major, and what do we really consider a major at this point? Because I'm not even sure what tiered event it was. I think it was a B+ tier or a low A tier.
I thought it was an A tier. I mean, I would say that competition definitely warrants an A tier. But I think that, it's like A tier, A+, S+. Right. I think that's the thing, P. But I definitely think that competition level was certainly an A tier. And it kind of almost seemed like it came out of nowhere. So kudos to them, man. I mean, barely an A tier, someone said in the chat, but an A tier nonetheless. Absolutely. That competition was legit. Because there was a couple people there in that at that tournament who had just got top 8 at CEO and then get like 9th place or 13th place at this event. So that to me tells me like it wasn't.
But it's like that is what I'm thinking about. It's like what do we really consider a major? Like, do we consider, because there's B+ tier, which is still like people are very happy whenever they win a B+ tier, and then there's A tier, then there's A+ tier, then there's S tier. then there's S plus tier, then there's P tier. So obviously P tier is the highest tier, but what are we really going to call a major tournament when there's all these tiered tournaments? Like when do we say like, oh, this person really won a major when they just won an A tier, when there's theoretically like A plus S, S plus P tier, 4 tiers that are above A tier at that point? Like, is that really necessarily a major? And I know that like whenever it comes to like the top player perspective, it really comes down to like the players that are there. And obviously Shattuck is considered a top 10 player right now. I think Kola can be like at least right now in contention for a top 10 player. I know Mudes is a top 20 player, but outside of those players, like I think Shattuck was the only player that is considered a top 10 player at the moment that was there. So is it really a major if there's only one top 10 player that's there? Because there was no Spargo, there was no Okola, Mia, all the other Japanese players, no Light, Tweak, all those players. So it's like, is it really considered a major if all those players aren't there?
Yeah.
Or maybe is it whenever we get into S tier, that's when we finally start to be like, okay, this is where we go into major? Because I know people talk about, oh, this is a major, this is a super major. So I don't know. I would consider Patchwork to be like a super regional. That's what I would call it. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a major. Like I don't think it's necessarily wrong for somebody to consider it being a major, but I just feel like where is the line that we have to draw for major versus regionals essentially?
I think that is a very good point. Because the thing about them structuring these events is like as tiered is it does kind of like take away from like, oh, this was a local, this was a regional, this was a major, this was a national. You know what I mean? Like that's how I kind of grew up as categorizing Smash was. But now you have all these different tiers and stuff like that. It almost seems like an overcomplication to a point. But nonetheless, I guess at this point it is what it is. It's I'd say like I would say like, okay, you won Patchwork. My opinion, you won a major, but it's recognized it wasn't like the highest honor you could have for a major, right? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough for sure. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mudes for winning that and to Zama for making a crazy losers run. Good to see him back. Hope you're motivated again, Jim. And I'm glad I guess the sponsor curse didn't really bother you because you didn't announce the sponsorship until you got the grand final. So big brain play right there. Big brain play. I see what you did. There was another tournament that took place that I would like to shout out as well. It was a tournament that to me, I just want to shout out because it just once again shows the consistency of somebody I believe is going to be easily ranked top 3 this season right now. Top 3 or 4 at worst, but it was a tournament in Japan. Itsusu Kushima, number 4, won by Hurt. Jogibu getting second place. Shout out to Jogibu having a bit of a resurgence here because his ass was getting cooked for the longest time, I remember. I was only talking about Karage being that Falcon to watch out for, but Jogibu bouncing back with second place. Goryoka getting third, and then
nice. Another snake player.
Some other, yeah.
I'll give it up, man. Like, I think we really have to show like the attestment to Hurt's consistency. Because it's looking pretty unmatched right now to where we're looking at all these tournaments that he's winning and we're like, damn, he's winning all these tournaments. But it's not just that he's winning. Every time I see him winning these tournaments, he's not dropping a set. It just says that he wins without any sets dropped. Like at this point, I want to know how many games he's dropping whenever he's winning these tournaments because it looks like he's 3-0ing a lot of people and like maybe he's dropping like 2 or 3 games at max. So he's not only is he just really, really good right now and really consistent, it's showing in his play and his consistency that he's consistently getting better and motivated to get better because not only is he just winning, he's still going to these tournaments, like even though he's winning and beating all these people. So he's very motivated and that's very nice to see.
It is because it's crazy to me that this is like the 4th or 5th tournament in a row that he's won in Japan, by the way, incredibly hard region to be that consistent in. We've seen only the greats have done it. People like Zach Ray, Akola, Mia, like it's very, Mia and Akola, like, they're just existing in the same era for this ultimate is just rough for them. But, it's a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know if Proto won. I don't know if Proto or Zachary won 5 in a row. I have no idea. But nonetheless, super, super impressive on his end, continuing to push the snake meta forward and just his adaptation. I watched that tournament, I restreamed it. Just his adaptation is just insane. it's like not even close to any other snakes out there. So always gotta give him a lot of love and respect there too, man. He's gonna be, like I said, third or fourth behind a Kola and Mia. So, and I think Smash Factor is going to be a very important tournament.
Yeah,
for Sonics for sure, to help with his push there too. But we'll get into that momentarily. But yeah, wanted to shout that event out as well for sure, because I thought that was pretty awesome. But we did say that we're very excited for the tournament that's coming up, Smash Factor. I have the final Cosmos have the final seating for the event. I'm going to put that on the screen right now. You can take a look at that, or if you need me to link it to you, I can give it to you.
Don't know. I'll just look at your team. I'm not sure what seed I am actually.
Okay, well let's. You are seed 17. You're seed 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going up. I was always in the 20s area, so you know what? I still feel like I'm slightly underseeded, but I'm grueling, crawling my way up there. That's all that really matters at this point.
There we go. Well, here is as it stands currently, guys. Spargo is seed 1. Sonics is seed 2. Tweak, whose attendance is questionable, is in seed 3. Light as well. Attendance is questionable in seed 4. So both these guys actually might not even be there, which will shift everybody up. Shattuck and Zomba, or Shattuck 5th, Zomba 6th, Asimo 7th, Gluto 8th, Gact, Meister, MK Leo, egregious, by the way, to put MK Leo outside the top 10. Ridiculous. Who the fuck
under Meister.
Under Meister. Under Meister, and I don't care if Gact got him at Genesis, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You must be out of your mind. Len Lima, Siski, Mutace. Mutace is criminally low as well. Let me tell you right now everything that needs to change right here. Let's just say that Tweak and Light are attending. Whatever, okay? Whatever, leave them there, okay? I would move Shattuck above Light, okay? And Light would be 5th. I'll leave Zomba. That Genesis win just holds so much weight, and he did just have a great performance at Patchwork. I would let Zomba there just off some respect. I would put Asimo where he is, because Asimo's been doing great at Japanese tournaments. Gluto, while still doing good, has not been that guy. I would move Leo up to 9th. Then I would put Meister, Gact, I would move Leo up to 9th. No, I'm lying. I would move Mutace up to 9th, and then Leo up to 10th, and then take it from there. Who the fuck cares? You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the top 10. I'm not disrespecting play. I'm just talking about the top 10. But the fact that Mutace is 14th is laughable to me. Mutace should be in the 9th spot. Leo should be in the 10th spot, and you go from there. All right, Gact, get out of my top 10. That's what I think. But this is all the people who will be attending. I mean, you can go all the way down to like seed 37. That guy Mo is really good too. Chag is 29th, Beastly 31. There's a lot of strong names here at this tournament. So even if Light and Tweak aren't able to attend, we are still looking for a hell of a good tournament, which I can't wait to restream. Thoughts on Smash Factor, Cosmos?
This is gonna be a whole. It's gonna be nice to have a tournament like this, because it's been a really long time since we've had a tournament like this in a while. Because I think the last time we've had a major was like what I would consider at least a super major, or anything close to a super major level, where a lot of the top players went to was Gommel, and that was like in the middle of May, so it's been like 2 months ago at this point. So I want to see what people have been cooking up, if people still have been like keeping the same drive that they had for the game. Or not. Maybe that's why there hasn't been as many big tournaments during June. There's been a lot of regionals, but not like super major tournaments or major tournaments. So it is going to be interesting to see, especially with the competition being in Mexico. I feel like Mexico has a very good mid-level player base. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see all these players try not to get upset in pools, like I did last year, and Zomba did last year too. There was a good amount of players that actually got upset in polls last year, because the Mexican players are just very, very good.
They're tough.
So it's going to be very interesting to see all those players get into the top 64 area, and then it's going to be interesting to see how the players do now, after having 2 months to basically like marinate on the game, and just have all the time that they need to basically get better and basically duke it out again, because this is also the last tournament for this ranking period for Luma rank. So I know that a lot of people do want to get their points in to like either clinch the ranking system, clinch top 20, clinch top 10, or clinch, I guess, top 4 for Sonics. I know Sonics is probably one of, if not the player that has always been a consistent grinder or a consistent practicer, and still is at this point, even with all the other games coming out, all the stuff that's like been going on with Smash, with other games, like people are like basically trying to like pivot out and stuff like that. So it's gonna be cool to see if people that are trying to pivot out still basically have it in Smash.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it's such a loaded competition, but I'm happy for Mexico because I think Mexico's one of the most deserving regions. So I'm glad they have a big event like this. City's a hell of a TO. My apologies, I can't make it down. Every year it seems like something just comes up. It's very disappointing, but I will be supporting and watching it for sure and showing it lots of love because it's a great event. Prediction on who's gonna take the event, and no, you can't say yourself just because that's too easy.
I mean, to be honest, I think I'm getting top 8 this tournament. I don't know if I'm gonna win because I haven't played in a while. Like I started playing recently, and honestly, I've been playing better. I feel like I've been playing better than I did before I stopped because I took a break to play multiverses, and then recently I started practicing with Ramen and SkyJ and Leo. And I feel like I've been playing a lot better, which is very strange. So I'm actually very excited for this tournament. So I do think this could actually be the tournament that I do top 8 at, and I really do like my bracket too because I have to play Big Boss into Spargo, and those are like not so toxic matchups. With a lot of the characters that are here in this bracket are pretty toxic, so I'm pretty happy about my bracket. But the one that I would think would win is honestly just Sonics, just because I know that with everything happening, and people like not really focusing too much on Smash anymore, I know that Sonics is like the most consistent grinder in Smash, so I feel like the consistency will end up showing in his gameplay. I think the only rough problem rough patch he might have to go through is Shattuck, because that matchup I know he really hates playing against Corrin, but I know that he has been playing with Spargo's Corrin a lot more recently, and I have tuned into his streams recently. He has been going Roy against Corrin because I know that matchup is really hard for Corrin. So I'm not sure if that's something that's actually going to end up happening, but if he does not run it into Shattuck, I do think that he would honestly just end up taking this tournament with moderate ease. He's still gonna have to try. He's still gonna like drop some games, especially if he plays Spargo. They usually go back and forth, but I do think if he plays Spargo in winners finals and grand finals, he would take 2 sets over 3.
Okay, I think that's fair. And like I said, like that would go a long way. I don't know why my camera's up, but whatever. I mean, everything today is just a show, so whatever. But yeah, that's a good point. I would say I'm gonna go with the guy who should have been seeded 10. But I guess I understand why they put GOAT at 11 because it just means he's gonna drop the other one because he's getting number 1. You see what I said there? You put him at 11 because he's dropping a 1 because he's gonna be the 1. MK Leo taking this whole tournament down, baby. I can't wait to see the Joker God himself explode on the competition. It's gonna be fantastic. Leo, I'm rooting for you, number 1, baby. Number uno in this case. Go get that job done. Go get that title, boy. Go get that title.
You're honestly fishing at this point. I don't even know what else to tell you. You're reaching. You're super reaching at this point.
I ain't reaching, bro. I ain't reaching, brother. I'm preaching. There's a difference. There is.
I mean, I'm not gonna doubt it because I was playing with Leo recently. It was difficult. I was doing pretty well, but I could see like he also said that he was really inspired recently. So he's motivated. I know he's motivated. I can see it in his gameplay. I could 100% see it in his gameplay. So I'm not gonna doubt it. I definitely think I always believe that Leo can just honestly decide to win whatever he wants. If he just like, you know what, I'm tired of losing, and what better place to do it than his home region?
100% agreed with you, bro. I think it's one of those things too where like you just know, like he wants to show up on this stage of all places. So yeah, I mean, somebody in the chat said, oh, he's gonna get 49th. Let me tell you that, would you ever bet on the GOAT MK Leo getting an absurd place like 49th?
I would never bet on Leo getting 49th. I don't think he's ever gotten 49th in like the history of Smash, but I am pretty curious at what I could bet on, honestly.
Well, you know what? I'm sure you and our listeners are curious what they can bet on. Let me tell you about our friends at Prize Picks. I know you guys are excited for this one because Prize Picks, as I always let you know, is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. That's insane, bro. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play your daily fantasy sports. Unlike those other trash ass apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. It's that simple. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every single week. From lowering select player stats and projections on Tuesdays to help with your lineup hit or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Friday. You know, they just want to make it easy for you to make your gambling experience that much more fun. Me personally, I keep telling you guys all the time, I've many a times turned a $10 a $10 deposit into like $100, okay? And remember, okay, you get your deposit up to $100 matched as well because Prize Picks wants to help you, the fan, succeed. So make sure you download the Prize Picks app today and use code LIGHTSOUT for your first deposit match of up to $100. That's code LIGHTSOUT on Prize Picks for your first deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy when you pick Prize Picks. I love it.
Always picking Prize Picks.
I love it, man. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you, chat, but I'm addicted, okay? I'm addicted. I'm addicted. Straight up. I can't stop.
Well,
Okay?
shit, we might need to talk about what you got to do about that later.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. As soon as this podcast is over, I'm heading right to Prize Picks to get my gamble on. Not what I'm going to do, just so we're clear. But look, I do want to transition. I do want to talk about something serious. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you saw this.
I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
Big news.
Honestly, I wanted to talk about it later. I don't know if I'm even ready to talk about it, but we could talk.
Wait, what are you talking about? I think we're actually talking about two different things.
Are you talking about the platform fighter?
Yeah.
No, I'm depressed. I'm depressed about this.
Well, let's talk about it right now, folks. You might have heard the announcement that kind of shocked a lot of people, and I would say rightfully so. Riot cancels Pool Party, an unannounced Smash Bros. Style fighting game. And oh my goodness, as a team of 70 to 80 employees was staffed to the project, a Melee-like platform fighter set in the League of Legends universe. This is what has been officially scrapped. Now, there's not a long article, but a lengthy one to an extent. But there's one thing I really wanted to scroll down here and highlight before we begin this discussion. Pool Party's cancellation was precipitated in part by a reassessment of consumer appetite for a Smash competitor. According to sources familiar with the project's development, executives at Riot were spooked by what they perceived as the failure of Multiverses, a free-to-play fighting game starring characters from franchises owned by Warner Brothers. Originally envisioned as a hardcore fighting game, the pitch for Pool Party changed over the course of development, shifting to include party game elements and casual friendly mechanics. The change in scope and vision frustrated some staff on the project. Pool Party bears no relation to other fighting games under development at Riot Games. So, wow. Crazy to think we were this close to potentially having a Riot platformer.
We were about to be set for life.
You think so?
We were about to be set for life. That's exactly what they said. And it really upset me so much. And it still does upset me so much. I was talking to Bam about it earlier today, and he did put it a lot more into his perspective for me, like why it made more sense, why they ended up doing it. Because if you think about it, Multiverses pretty much was their business plan.
Yeah.
Which is their business plan for pretty much all of their games, because all Riot games are free to play. So essentially what Pool Party, I guess, is what like the code name was for it, I guess they were going to change it at some point. But their business plan or marketing plan for Pool Party was essentially going to be, hey, exactly what we do for all our other games. We're going to say that this is a free-to-play game. You can play it for free, download it on pretty much any console on maybe not on the Switch, because like that would be a complete competitor, but like you can download it on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and you can play it for free, and you can just support us by buying skins if you want. And I wouldn't not gonna lie, they definitely would have done it better than Multiverses did it too, because I feel like Multiverses is not so great in their marketing. I think they do a
They're
lot of
not.
other things that are better, but like their honestly biggest hindrance to their success right now is how they are marketing and like the choices they are going with, like releasing stuff in their game and stuff like that. So Riot knows how to do everything. Honestly, they do everything very, very, very well. That's
Yeah.
why we know that 2xKO is going to be very successful, and the platform fighter honestly would have been, in my opinion, just as successful, if not more successful, because the platform fighter genre is a very huge market. But I was talking to Bam, and he really put it into perspective for me by saying when they look at multiverses as their business model, because they basically had their same business model. um they look at their player retention, and even though there's still a good amount of people playing multiverses, like 10 to 20,000 people playing multiverses, which is still a lot of people, and that's a very healthy game. They look at like the retention percentage, and the peak of multiverses was like 150,000 people playing concurrently, and obviously you got like millions and millions of people to try out your game, is essentially. But the retention rate is honestly like you had basically over 95%, maybe even like 98% of the people that were ended that tried the game
Yeah.
not want to play the game anymore. And it's like, yeah, you kept 2% of that huge amount, which is a lot of people, but it's like to them that is basically a failure, because what could have been a success, if you don't confirm success, that is essentially a failure. So I can understand that from their perspective, because that was going to be their business model. I think the part that still pisses me off about it is the fact that I know how much attention to detail that Riot puts in their fighting games and their marketing and everything surrounding just a single game, that they really put all their eggs in the basket of. So whenever, if they did commit to it, obviously they should not be using multiverses as an example, even though they have the same business model. They should not be using multiverses as an example, because multiverses took the business model and basically flipped it upside down and just did a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to shit on multiverses, because I still love the game. I still play the game. I still think the game has a lot of potential. But a lot of your a lot of the consensus around the game always comes from the launch of a game and how the game does when the game is in its beginning phases, or like in its launch era, essentially. So because the game had a lot of problems, not just once, twice, because when the open beta came out, there was a lot of problems then. And yes, it was advertised as an open beta, but since even though it was an open beta, it was an open beta for a really long time, because I guess they were having a lot of success, so they wanted to keep the momentum going. I'm not entirely sure why, but it basically felt like the game was essentially out. So they had like 150,000 people playing concurrently during open beta, and then it dropped off to like basically just hundreds of people playing. They took it down, came back up, had like another 110,000 people playing, and then it dropped down to like losing 90% of their player base, which is essentially a colossal failure to companies like that. Like if you tell somebody, yeah, you're going to lose 90% of the people that play the game, people are going to be like, why would I do that then? If I'm going to lose basically, like if you say that you're going to lose half, that's already a big problem. You say you're going to lose 90%, it's like there's no point in doing this if I'm going to lose all those people. So I can understand it, but for Riot, because of how much I know they put attention to detail to their games, and like the creativity and all the potential, and not only the potential, but like um the way they market their games, and how they immediately launch a game with competitive support, competitive developer support. So you're not just catering towards the casuals, you're also catering towards the competitors too. With like, hey, that's what Multiverses did at first too, which was also pretty good, because they were like, all right, we have an open beta right now, but we're also going to put 100K into Evo so that people come. And that was very nice. People were like, yo, this game actually has a future. After that, nothing happened. I think there was one 5K tournament at Low Tide City or something, and that was it. And barely anybody was even there anyway, because that was like 3 or 4 months later. But Riot is like, we're not just gonna throw money into one tournament and that's it. When the game comes out, we're gonna announce the game with a circuit for the game, because we believe in our game. We know that people are gonna play this game, and we know that we're going to listen to people and add patches to the game and everything. So they just know how to really solidify the business model, which is essentially where multiverses failed at. So it bothers me that they are basically looking at multiverses and being thinking like, oh, they had our business model, so it's essentially a failure. So if we do it too, we could basically like follow in the footsteps. So it just feels like the platform fighter essentially genre just doesn't really have a good market when it's just everybody that is investing into it doesn't know what they're doing. Riot knows what they're doing. That's why people are excited for 2XKO. That's why people were excited when they were doing Valorant or whatever the game they put out now. If they did a battle royale, it would blow up because they know what they're doing. So that's my biggest problems with it, and it's really sad to hear that because I also knew about it too, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep playing all these other games, but when the Riot platform fighter comes out, I'm dropping everything because this is where we're gonna start eating, and then someone just threw our food away.
First of all, I want to commend you on that impressive speech. That was very well articulated, very well said, and I can tell you spoke from the heart as somebody who's very invested in like the world of platform fighters and eager to do stuff outside of Smash. Couple things I'll say about this. I had heard about this being in development maybe 2 years ago. Year and a half, 2 years ago. Obviously, I never cite my sources for stuff like that, but I knew about this game being in development for a little while. Um, Pool Party, is such a whack name, but that's one of those things Riot likes to do. They'll have like code names, and then they'll have a real name later when they get to the actual developmental stages of okay, it's time to formulate this so we can get it out to the public. We didn't get to that step at this point, which is unfortunate. I know a couple people within like the gaming space, of course, play tested and tried it out, I believe. So it's a shame that we're not going to get to maybe ever like get their true insights on things or know exactly what was being produced and put out there potentially for a lot of people to consume because I mean I understand multiverses, and I like to say this, I like multiverses as a game. I think it's cool. I think the marketing is a little gym sometimes, but it
A
is what
little.
it is what it is. But I think them like maybe they might have put too much stock into like they might have put too much stock into that multiverses beta because it sounds like this is based from last year's info and not this year. And I
Yes.
know that the numbers of multiverses like peaked and then like it's been on a slowly decline. That's what a lot of games, though it happens. But I would look more so like if the thing says it's supposed to be like a competitor like Smash Bros, I would look at Smash, look at Melee. Like Melee community is full of a bunch of jackasses. I'm not gonna lie, but passionate community has kept this game alive for 23 years. Okay, look at Ultimate. This game is what, almost 7, 8 years old. Tournaments popping up all the time still, like still a healthy scene. Like if you give people something that's worth playing and it's good, especially for platform players, or what I'm saying, they're gonna play it and they're gonna consume it. They're gonna really enjoy that for sure. So I think it was or 5 or 6. I'm sorry, I might have added a couple years to Ultimate. But regardless, like even with all the complaints and stuff like that, the DLC complaints, game is still alive and doing very well as far as like tournaments are going. So, it's a real shame. Maybe it's one of those things that can be revisited at a later time. Hopefully it's more of a shelf thing and not a scrap thing. But stuff like this is like I think they're probably like, what, we got League. We put out Valorant, which was a huge success as well. Valorant's going crazy, and we know 2XKO is gonna go nuts as well. So it's like, well, maybe we'll revisit this in a couple years or so. But right now, these are our big three, and we're gonna put all our effort into that. So I get it; it sucks, but it is what it is. So
Yeah,
another one of those what could have beens.
yeah, and I mean, I really hope it's not like it's kind of a copium thing. I think I'm coping at this point. I just hope it's really not a thing that lasts forever, and I
Yeah.
do hope that at some point they're like, all right, well, we are just gonna put it on the shelf for now, and then maybe at some point later on we'll revisit it because I don't know, maybe at some point they could because personally, contrary to popular belief, I still do believe in multiverses, and I still do believe that they have the potential to be a very good game with all
It's a good
the
game.
IPs they have,
Yeah.
developers support, the people working there are great. They know what they're doing. Like at least some of them know what they're doing. I could say that. So the fact that they do have the potential, I do think in the future they will get their together and figure it out, and then it'll be a very good game that people are like, oh, it's a very nice game, and like it's actually like nice to like play now. And then not only that, whenever the game is actually nice to play, and then they reveal like a pass of characters, it'll re-blow up again, and a lot of people will play it, and then the retention will be more. And then maybe at that point, Riot will look at the retention rate at that point and be like, oh, maybe now I can, like, maybe we were wrong about the platform fighting base, and like there is a market here that can be sustained essentially, so we can jump back into it, and we know that we can do things better than everybody else. So if Multiverse is getting these numbers, 40, 50,000 people playing the game, we can at least get 200,000 people playing the game, because we know that we're bigger than them, or like we can do things better than them. So maybe that'll happen. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. It's I'm just trying to make myself feel better now. And like, yeah, it's sad.
I want to point out too, I'm not even gonna put this person's tweet on the screen because it was so stupid. But somebody actually, like, as you know, I'd say 99% of us are like, man, this sucks. This is bad. There's one person I saw tweet out that
stupid
unpopular decision here, but I actually think we're better off for this. And it goes on to say that the fighting game is, I don't even want to read it. It's just, look, this is not good any way you slice it. More opportunities, more content has just been lost for fighting game players, or excuse me, platform fighters, and maybe fighting game players and content creators. Like, there is no world where this is a good thing. Like that, I don't even know.
Literally, content creators would have been set for life. Commentators would have been set for life. There would have been a lot more commentators. Players 100% would have been set for life. These players would have been. League players are set for life. Valorant players are set for life. I know 2x KO players will be set for life. These players would have also been set for life. If there is a circuit surrounding this for more than 1 year, it would have been a success. Like, set for life, obviously I could be exaggerating a little bit, but we would have been good for a long time.
I agree.
It would have been very beneficial for our career.
I agree. So we'll see how 2x KO does. Maybe if that like booms and just like trajectory just keeps going and going, maybe they'll revisit this. But for now, that is the update on the rumored, now confirmed Riot platform fighter that was in development that is going on it would seem a permanent hiatus. But that's not the only thing going on a permanent hiatus. Big House. How you doing, Big House? What's going on, guys? Fortunately, it has been announced that the Big House.
Fortunately?
I said unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Cut out for a second.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Big House will not be returning this year. The TO Juggle guy made a post here. It's quite a lengthy post, but I mean, it basically just, states the fact, like, he's got a new job and it's harder to maintain sponsorships, and there's been I guess there was like a decline a little bit of attendance, like, it plateaus, which it does happen, you know what I'm saying? And Big House is one of those events that's been around for a very long time. It's definitely in that legacy category for sure. It's had a lot of,
I think there was 11 iterations.
Yeah. Like, Big House has been around for a long time. This is not this is not an event that's just like it's not it tried, like, no, this is actually a big deal that Big House is going to be shutting down. So, I've been to a couple big houses. The big houses I attended, aside from like I think the final one I went to, were all hyped. They were all dope. I had a good time for sure. Definitely had my share of complaints, which I was vocal about. And I have no problem saying that. But overall, as an event, I thought they did a good job. You guys might recall last year on a Lights Out episode where I said, I'd heard some things that, because of like some ties or arrangements, Big House might not come back this year, or it might not be around much longer. I was referring to last year for 2023. Of course, they did end up hosting it in 2023. And I just want to put this on the screen real quick too, because apparently old Slime hit me with a little gotcha. He says, when they announced it last year, he was like, EE seething right now. Who's seething now? Anyway, your thoughts on Big House unfortunately having to close their doors as a former Big House champion?
Yeah, I think it's tragic because
it is.
It's actually really sad for me because obviously I won a Big House, but not only just did I win a Big House was like what created me. Like, Big House was my first major tournament.
Yeah.
It was my very, very first major tournament. Big House was like the first major tournament that got me into really wanting to compete seriously. Like obviously, I was always watching Smash for a while. I watched Smash and Brawl and stuff, but Big House and Smash 4 made me like be like, okay, this is really cool.
I hear that.
And then I went to Big House, my very first Big House. It was the very first tournament that I got very first major tournament I went to, and the very first time I beat a top player because I beat Zenodo and qualified for a top 32. So it was my first major tournament and my first top player win at a major tournament.
Hell
And then not only that, after I moved out and decided that I wanted to take Smash very seriously, Big House was my very first tournament that I top eighted. So it was like, okay, this is what top eight really feels like. So Big House has a lot of memories for me. The year after that, I won Big House. So it's like Big House was my first top eight, first major tournament player win, first major tournament win at like
Definitely.
in general. So it's like it holds a lot of merit to me. Like the tournament series holds a special place to me. So it's really sad to see it go. And it was really sad that I remember last year. I'm pretty sure it was Big House that last year. Um, I think it was for Ultimate. They were like really trying really hard to get players
They
to
were
go.
begging people, yeah.
Yeah, they were begging people. Like there was the one tweet where it was like, "Hey guys, we're basically one top 10 or top 20 player. I think it was top 20 player away from becoming an A tier. They were like a B tier. They were really close to becoming an A tier. So they were
Okay.
like, if any top 20 player wants to confirm, I will pay for your housing and flight to come to this tournament and make it like a more prestige tournament because Big House is supposed to be a special tournament." And nobody cared. Nobody went. They were like getting Japanese people to translate it for them to like see if even a Japanese player would want to come. So if you're gonna fly out a Japanese player and house them, that's a lot of money. So they really wanted to make it even just an A tier, but nobody ended up going. Obviously, I guess it was last minute too, but it's still tragic to see like the route that Big House ended up going. Obviously, like a lot of it has to be with everything that happened with Smash World Tour and Panda and everything that happened in the Smash Cup in general, but it's really sad to see that Big House just ended up getting caught in the crossfire and ended up having to go down because of that.
Yeah, I think too, a lot of like, and we'll joke around here sometimes, but this is like legitimately sad because one, it's never good when we're losing more majors. Like, that's, both games rely on like majors being a thing. So that sucks. Midwest, pretty chill region, sucks they're losing. They lost Frostbite. Now they're losing Big House. Like I feel bad.
Frostbite was great too.
Yeah, I feel bad for a lot of the Midwest folks because it's so accessible for them. So that stinks for sure. I mean, I know the ult complaint or even like Smash 4 complaint, both games was like it always felt like such a little brother compared. Like at Genesis, yeah, it's the other game, like Melee is the main event, but Ultimate still feels like it's up there, you know what I'm saying? Never really felt that with Big House, you know what I'm saying? So that did kind of rub some people the wrong way, but as an event, it was still chill. It was still cool. But yeah, that's really unfortunate. Hopefully it can be remedied at some point. I don't really know too much about like his personal life and stuff like that, but I know that when something's your baby and you have 11 iterations of it, I know it hurt to write that and stuff like that. So I'm sorry to hear that because again, despite it being lacking last year for Ultimate, still a legacy event, still deserves the respect. So it is what it is, but that sucks, man. That sucks. Definitely. We need a new game to infuse some life, bro. We need a new game to infuse some life for sure. But yeah,
at this point, I don't even, like Smash is taking like we were definitely insinuating that Smash is like on a downward slope and like it's like Smash is just like basically stagnating. There's not too much happening. Like it's not getting hit or anything, and there's not too much happening that's making it go down. But now there's really stuff that's like visually showing that the community is getting hit from like multiple different angles, which just sucks to see. And I know that a lot of people are pretty upset to see things like that happen.
Obviously so, yeah. I mean, but like we were talking about earlier, like Patchwork seems like they're really trying to cook something up down there in the Carolinas region. The Let's Make Moves series, like that doesn't seem like it's slowing down. They've been consistently gaining steam. Our own event, Watch the Throne, which is going to be an invitational again that we're doing later this year. So there's still things, Don't Park on the Grass is coming back. It's kind of taking the place of Poor Priority, but nonetheless, that's kind of a 1-for-1. It kind of balances out. But yeah, it sucks. But all the best to that team, and hopefully they can bring it back one day. But Cosmos, I mean, damn, when I think about it, bro, we talked a lot about a lot of depressing today. I mean, the lack of light, and we don't have any leads on where he is, what he's doing, if he's coming back. The state of that Riot platform fighter that has now been, shelved.
Yeah.
Very, very depressing news. And then right there, we just had to talk about,
dude. If
hold on, the unfortunate cancellation of the big house.
Yeah, I mean, like if I can explain it to you, like I lost my friend, one of my best friends. I lost like what was basically going to solidify my future, and I lost the thing that basically created my past. So at this point, I feel like I just really need some help.
You do need some help, man. You do need some help because you might have lost all that, but you can find yourself some help right the hell now. Chat, you know what time it is, bro. Our friends over at BetterHelp, they're here to get you out of that funk and into them streets with a therapy experience like no other. If you're thinking about starting therapy, then give BetterHelp a try, okay? It's entirely online and is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do is fill out the brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And guess what? If you're matched and it's not working out, you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. You can get it off your chest with the best. I'm talking about BetterHelp. You know how many times I've been down in the dumps, hard to get out of bed, can't even raise my head. I'm damn near dead. But with my friends at BetterHelp, I rose up like the mother Undertaker, and that's how I got it done. Well, you want to know how you can get it done? Visit BetterHelp.com/lightsout today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lightsout. Why delay? Help is available today. Facts.
Bars.
It's facts.
Bars on bars on bars.
That's what we do around here. We put
I might. After this podcast, bro, I might have to actually use that link. Honestly, I think I need some.
Come on, man, click it, baby. I said, click it. No doubt about that. But not great episode, guys, for sure. Me and Carlos are gonna be some changes coming to the podcast for sure. We're gonna make some adjustments and stuff like that. But we'll keep you guys briefed on all that as it does come up. Cosmos, I'm wishing you very good luck this weekend at Smash Factor. I fully believe in you, bro. I know you can do some damage. I know you will do some damage. So let's make sure when we reconvene next week, we got some really good stuff to talk about in your case, my guy. I believe in you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No doubt about that. Well, I give my best to everybody there. Chat, thank you so much for watching. Audience, we love you to death. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because I'd like to think we always bring the vibe. Who the f is ringing my doorbell? I'm going to go answer that. Peace.